The podcast opens with a discussion on the unique positioning of Solana in the evolving crypto landscape. Anatoly Yakovenko, founder and CEO of Solana Labs, articulates a clear distinction between Solana, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. While Bitcoin is a store of value and Ethereum serves as a settlement layer, Solana is primarily an execution engine. This differentiation stems from Yakovenko's engineering background and interests, focusing on moving data quickly and efficiently, rather than the more theoretical challenges that fuel Bitcoin and Ethereum. Solana aims to be the high-speed backbone for decentralized finance, DeFi, and blockchain applications that demand rapid transaction processing in an increasingly interconnected world. Yakovenko describes the technical ingenuity behind Solana's architecture, especially its novel proof-of-history consensus mechanism, which leverages a trusted cryptographic clock to record time passage in a way that's hard to counterfeit. This innovation dramatically increases throughput and reduces latency compared to previous blockchain designs, allowing Solana to process thousands of transactions per second. The engineering challenge here is likened to solving a channel efficiency problem, optimizing bit flow, much like Qualcomm's early work in wireless technology. This technological capacity is critical as the next wave of blockchain use cases, especially those involving AI agents and stablecoins, requires blazing fast, permissionless execution. A major theme throughout the conversation is the convergence of AI, blockchain, and the financial system, a synthesis that Yakovenko views as catalytic for global economic acceleration. As the cost of intelligence, computational power for analyzing and acting on data, continues to drop, the number of markets and decisions driven by AI agents is projected to explode. Public, permissionless blockchains like Solana could support these burgeoning markets with minimal friction. Yakovenko predicts an exponential increase in decentralized decision-making, facilitated by financial incentives in markets that reward accuracy and punishes misjudgments via monetary loss, embedding intelligence into the very fabric of economic interactions. The panelists explore how AI agents will require economic agency to function autonomously. Unlike humans, many AI agents are unbanked, lacking access to traditional financial infrastructure. Solana and similar high-speed blockchains offer a distinct advantage by acting as a native environment for AI agents to transact, earn, and spend capital seamlessly. This new class of digital economic actors could drive profound shifts in how value is created and exchanged, with AI performing much of the labor required to monitor markets, assess risk, and execute trades at speeds impossible for humans, effectively functioning as an economic infrastructure of intelligence. The dialogue delves into why blockchains, particularly Solana, are necessary for reinventing the financial ecosystem rather than merely improving existing systems. Traditional financial infrastructure, such as stock exchanges, payment systems, and legal frameworks, has significant historical baggage, often tied to centuries-old regulatory and operational models that limit speed, transparency, and accessibility. For example, the legacy clearing and settlement cycle, which typically requires multiple days, runs counter to the near-instantaneous capability of blockchain's cryptographically secured transactions. Yakovenko envisions a future in which a singular, global computational ledger synchronizes markets worldwide, balancing the latency constraints inherent in physics and geography. This single machine layer would distribute block production across key global financial hubs, offering local low-latency access while maintaining a consistent shared state. This vision solves the dichotomy of centralized speed, like Nasdaq's matching engines, versus decentralized trust. Although parts of this vision still face engineering and regulatory challenges, deployment of fast, permissionless blockchains like Solana is accelerating the adoption of this paradigm, offering a foundation for markets of unprecedented scale, flexibility, and efficiency. The podcast highlights that legislative progress on stablecoins will serve as a significant catalyst in blockchain adoption. With governments moving towards clearer frameworks, the issuance of trillions of digital dollars over the coming years is anticipated to accelerate the use of crypto rails for global payments and settlement. The low cost and high speed of transferring stablecoins on Solana, described as being 1,000,000 times cheaper than moving money between traditional banks, position the network as a critical payment infrastructure for the future economy. Yakovenko and his guests also address the complexity regulators face with the blockchain landscape. The replacement of many manual human processes with software-enforced cryptographic guarantees disrupts traditional financial guardrails but confers new transparency and security. While regulatory resistance exists in some quarters, the inexorable growth of crypto markets indicates the demand for these networks is real and persistent. As the regulatory landscape stabilizes, blockchain-enabled finance, especially DeFi applications, are poised to dramatically drop costs and broaden access globally, reshaping capital formation and distribution. The guest underscored the transformative potential of decentralized finance as one of the primary use cases for programmable blockchains like Solana. DeFi applications allow money to be escrowed and released based on pre-programmed conditions, creating trustless alternatives to traditional finance products such as loans, derivatives, and insurance. This dramatically increases market efficiency and accessibility by removing intermediaries and automating processes previously reliant on human intervention, which often introduces delays and operational risks. Despite the U.S.'s sophisticated financial system, the podcast explains how it was designed around human workflows and outdated technological assumptions. Blockchain-based DeFi platforms offer a new underlying infrastructure that can settle trades and handle risk in milliseconds. This real-time, algorithm-driven financial ecosystem could both reduce systemic risks and democratize access to capital, enabling a wider universe of global founders, investors, and entrepreneurs to participate without the geographic, bureaucratic, or socioeconomic constraints imposed by legacy infrastructure. An extended discussion includes Solana's journey toward achieving robust decentralization, an area where critics have previously challenged the project. Yakovenko emphasizes that decentralization, in his view, hinges on permissionlessness, the ability for anyone to participate at all levels, whether validating transactions, producing blocks, or deploying code. This approach ensures that no single entity or small group can gain disproportionate influence, fostering network security and resilience. While the path to fully decentralized, high-performance blockchain systems is arduous, with growing pains and implementation hurdles encountered along the way, Solana has made strides by carefully balancing throughput and security. Architectural innovations and recruitment of top consensus researchers have improved network robustness and distributed validator participation. Such evolution underscores the tension and ultimate interoperability between scalability, speed, and decentralization within the blockchain trilemma. Yakovenko sheds light on the economic design behind Solana's native token, emphasizing its primary utility as a disincentive against spam rather than a direct transactional vehicle. The token's value, he explains, is largely derived from the opportunity cost incurred by users and validators vying for prioritized transaction inclusion. In high-demand moments, market participants pay added fees to be first in the block, as being late risks lost profits. This subtle but important mechanism results in a feedback loop where staking the token confers block-producing rights, which in turn creates revenue streams from user fees. While the token's price dynamics are complex and influenced by many external factors, the fundamental principle ties the token's utility to network activity and market competition for scarce blockchain resources. Various industry analytics firms have begun to synthesize these dynamics, providing frameworks for understanding token economics in proof-of-stake systems. The conversation touches on the complex relationship between blockchain technology and corporate governance. There is growing enthusiasm about the prospect of fully on-chain autonomous corporations that could handle payments, governance, treasury management, and even employee roles programmatically. Wyoming and other jurisdictions have created DAO-friendly legislation, offering a legal foundation for decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, as recognized corporate entities. However, this future depends critically on evolving legal interpretations of liability, ownership, and fiduciary responsibilities. Yakovenko stresses that limiting commingled liabilities of participants in decentralized systems would enable code-as-law constructs where contract terms and business processes are enforced by software rather than courts. Such advances could dramatically reduce friction and cost in capital markets and corporate management, though the path includes negotiating overlapping layers of local, national, and federal regulations. A foundational computer science concept, the Byzantine generals problem, is highlighted for its profound impact on blockchain development. Yakovenko and others elaborate on how blockchain consensus protocols solve the problem of reaching agreement across distributed, potentially malicious nodes. The cryptography underlying blockchains ensures message authenticity and order, eliminating the risks of double spending or identity falsification. The podcast explains how innovations like Solana's proof of history leverage these principles to encode time itself into block formation, boosting efficiency. These concepts, rooted in decades of theoretical work, have practical and transformative applications in creating trustless networks where participants can transact without centralized intermediaries or mutual trust, fundamentally rewriting the rules of digital commerce and coordination. Addressing concerns around job displacement, social unrest, and economic disruption, the panel maintains an optimistic view that technology, including blockchain, will ultimately enhance human prosperity. Examples were cited of historical resilience, such as the Irish banking strike, emphasizing that human communities adapt quickly to systemic shocks. Furthermore, blockchain's facilitation of local community DAOs and token economies can bootstrap granular, self-supporting ecosystems that reduce reliance on unstable national financial systems. This bottom-up approach to economic organization complements larger-scale global blockchain applications and could serve as a buffer against inequalities or disruptions during transitional periods. The networked, programmable nature of blockchain currencies and smart contracts could allow local economies to circulate value more effectively and transparently, providing a level of financial inclusion and stability unattainable in many traditional models. In the culminating discussion, the panelists wrestle with the evolving conceptualization of wealth beyond traditional physical or monetary assets. Dr. Alexander Wissner-Gross advocates for defining wealth in terms of future freedom of action, the degree to which individuals or societies can influence their destinies across time and space. This expansive view subsumes compute power, health span, energy availability, and control over physical and virtual resources. Others highlight compute as a universal currency in an AI-driven future, reflecting its role in powering economic productivity, healthcare, and innovation. Still, some caution that wealth ultimately depends on degrees of freedom, purpose fulfillment, and social context. This nuanced perspective underscores the multifaceted nature of wealth in a post-digital, increasingly automated world and reflects the iterative dialogue between technology, economics, and human values shaping the next decade.